front of us. We had spent more than half an hour telling them everything we knew, which was almost nothing, and now it was time to say goodbye. Athena's eyes filled with tears, and all she could do was bite her lip, before reassuring us through a thin voice that she didn't normally possess. I am sure this is nothing. Anton will come home in the morning. He is probably helping someone and is detained. You know he can never say no to people, not when they need him. Call me if you hear anything, any time of night. We love you both. She blew a kiss to each of us. Even though they were over 1,000 miles away, it still comforted me to have them send love and support to us. I wondered if they would call all of Anton's brothers right away, waking them up. Then I realized it wasn't so late there. They might be happily watching TV or perhaps out with friends. When the call ended, these thoughts and so many more crawled around in my mind like ants in a nest. For another moment, Gaia and I just watched the screen dull, then turned black before either of us spoke. We should go to bed. We've done everything we can for tonight. Basil and Michalis are still out looking. Come on. I tilted my head towards her as I spoke, but she didn't flinch or nod. Eventually, she stood up and I did the same. She turned to me and said, He will come back, won't he? I can't lose my mum and my dad, Mumu. Mumu. Gaia's nickname for me came about because Anton calls me Melodie so often that Gaia went to join in but called me Mumu instead. It's a bit like saying mine. I wasn't her mother, but I was hers either way. Her stepmother. Gaia's lip trembled like a small child, but the frown was deep and aged far beyond that of the normal stress-free 15-year-old. I pulled her towards me and briefly kissed the side of her head. I wished she were my actual daughter, that I had been the only mother she'd known, the one to bring her into the world. It was a silly thing to be thinking about, but as I inhaled the smell of coconut shampoo, the thought consumed me. If I lost Anton, would I lose Gaia too? We'll find him, Gaia, I said. That much I could say and believe in, but I couldn't lay a false hope on top of that and say she hadn't lost him. How was I to know? I didn't really know if we would find him, but I had a belief that we would. My heart felt as though it was being choked as I wrapped it in questions and fear. We'll find him, I repeated, one way or another. Walking away from the sofa, I did my best to seem confident, as though a plan were afoot as I marched to switch on the upstairs light. I came back to switch off the downstairs lights. In doing so, Anton's broken phone on the shelf caught my eye, and the sight of it flooded my body with adrenaline. Why was his phone broken? The screen was fractured like our home. If he had dropped it out on the gravel of our drive, how did he not notice? Was he in a rush? I could hear Gaia coming up behind me, so I carried on shuffling insignificant items back to their normal positions in the way most people do before making their way to bed. It was important to maintain the illusion of normality and control. I was no longer sure if I was doing this for Gaia or for my own sanity. Having Gaia to think of was keeping me grounded. I muttered reassuring thoughts as we made our way up the creaky wooden stairs. Having affirmed to her that Anton's arrival was sure to be imminent, the best thing for us to do, I told her, was to sleep. I walked her to her bedroom, and she hesitated at the door. You don't think it was Evangelina, do you? You don't think she's done something to him? No. I'm sure he'll be home soon. Get some rest. Kalinichta. She nodded her head. But her eyes were searching my face, reading me before the door was closed. I would be lying if I said I hadn't briefly considered my unhinged half-sister could be responsible for Anton not being home yet. Evangelina had turned up in our lives just after Anton and I came back from our honeymoon. She passed herself off as my long-lost full sister named Kires, to try to get inheritance money out of me. There's nothing she wouldn't have done to get what she wanted. It was sad because she could have had anything she wanted.